Hey, how's it going, fellow fun addicts? Today's video is going to be about PPG, aka Pop Price Guide, and how much a pop is worth. By the end of this video, you should have a much deeper understanding about how PPG works and how to incorporate that into your own method of determining how much you're willing to spend on a pop. So what is PPG? Now, PPG stands for Pop Price Guide, and you're probably most familiar with PPG is when you go into your Funko app and you see that little value there that shows you how much that pop is worth. Now, that is determined by a separate company called Pop Price Guide that's owned by HobbyDB. Now, they have their own standalone website called Pop Price Guide, and their own website is much more detailed. You can see graphs of like the past history of how much a pop has been selling for, and you can see specific eBay listings on what they're using to determine the value, and it's just much more detailed than the Funko app itself. Now, how does PPG determine the value of a pop? Now, this might blow your mind. 100% of the value is determined through eBay sales. That's it. A little bit of HobbyDB online sales, but it's almost 100% completed eBay listings. You might notice, you might think, hey, that might be kind of an issue. And you're right, it is kind of an issue. Let's get into some issues with PPG, because there are quite a few issues that can come up. They won't necessarily impact what you're looking at, but it's definitely worth paying attention to. The first very obvious issue that we just touched on is it's determined almost 100% by online eBay sales, because it would take a lot of programming to try to tap into all these different systems to track how much things are going for. I guess it's just easier to track from eBay 100% and their own internal sales, HobbyDB, but they don't take into account Facebook Marketplace, Kijiji, Craigslist. They don't take into account brick and mortar stores, retail sales. They don't take into account any of that. Amazon, none of it. And a great example of how this can screw up a PPG is if you look at the Funko app right now, the new glow-in-the-dark Sombra from Overwatch, I think the PPG is about $4, which makes 0 sense because you can only buy it retail for about $15. And once again, in this video, I'm going to be using Canadian dollar values, so just a heads up. But yeah, that's a huge thing. How are you going to buy a brand new pop for $4? It makes more sense if we're talking about a pop that released several months ago, that retailers can't get rid of, so they're reducing the price. You go into EB Games, hey, that pop's only $9 now. You come in 2 months later, hey, they're selling it for $5. Wow, no one wants this pop. There it makes more sense when more time has passed and people are realizing, hey, this is kind of garbo. You can't get rid of these things. Sure, it's $4 now, but it came out like 2 weeks ago. Makes no sense. The second biggest issue with PPG is that it doesn't take location into account, okay? This is huge. It just lumps everything together. And for the most part, it's a very US-centric look at the value. Like, for example, if you live in the States, there's going to be a lot more like Freddy Funko HQ exclusive pops floating around, which is going to increase the supply, relative to the demand, and it's going to push that PPG down. Now, I live in Canada, so I would have to pay more for a Freddy Funko that's like a HQ exclusive. Like, I personally really want, the Frankenstein Freddy? I really want one of those. Now, PPG is only like $20 or $30, but realistically, I'm probably going to have to spend like $35 or $40 in Canada if I want that, because it's just more limited here, and PPG does not take any of that into account. There's another great example in the reverse of this. In Canada, we still have Toys R Us, and we get the Jeffrey exclusives, or Geoffrey, I forget how you say it, but we get those exclusives where he's dressed up as Superman, he's dressed up as Batman. We just had him released as Superman, and the shelves didn't have much. Then it got restocked, and they're just sitting on the shelves. And Toys R Us, hey, all Funko's 20% off. So you could buy a Joffrey as Superman for $18 all day long, or even $16. I forget exactly what it was, but you could just buy it all day long retail for a cheap price. Meanwhile, you go look at the PPG, it's like $40, because once again, it's like a US-centric view that doesn't take location into account. This next issue is more with the Funko app itself. than with just PPG, but it kind of ties in. The Funko app does not differentiate between con stickers and shared exclusive stickers. There's a very small difference, but when it comes to value, there's potentially a very large difference. Now, if you go to Pop Price Guide's website, they do make this differentiation. Did I say that right? Differentiation? Yeah, let's go with it. So if you're looking at something with a con sticker, you're really going to want to make sure you go to the PPG website and don't trust your Funko app, because I know personally the value of my collection is really artificially inflated in the Funko app, because it's saying my Cyborg Superman is worth like $100 when really it's a shared exclusive sticker and it's only worth like 25, 30 max. So you got to be careful with that stuff, all right? Another issue is because PPG values are only determined by eBay listings, they are 100% open to manipulation. There's nothing stopping you from listing a pop for a reduced value, having your buddy buy it, take a hit on the, the percentage eBay takes, a couple bucks or whatever. Do that once or twice. I don't know exactly how many times it needs to be done for PPG to actually, incorporate it into its averages and stuff like that, but you can artificially lower the price if you wanted to. I don't know why you'd want to do that. You want to buy a pop, it's too expensive, do a couple fake listings, wait for the PPG to drop, go hit up this person and be like, hey, I want to buy it. Maybe they'll let it go for the cheaper PPG price if they trust PPG that much. Or let's play a fun game. Every time I say PPG, take a shot. This kind of ties into the last thing I was saying. PPG only works if both sides trust it. It's a lot like money. I got this piece of paper with a 20 on it. I'm saying it's worth, 10 cartons of milk. If you don't believe that, it's just a piece of paper. You know what I mean? Both sides have to trust in the system that it's somehow accurately representing the value for it to work. Because otherwise, it doesn't necessarily fall apart, but it doesn't hold the same weight, if that makes sense. So you might be thinking, wow, PPG is really bad. It's not necessarily bad. It does work for the most part, but you can't just blindly trust PPG. You're going to have a bad time if you just open up the app, look at the value, and go, yup, that's it. Because a couple things can happen. People are going to get insulted. You're going to go, hey, PPG only says it's $10. How come you're charging $20? You're trying to rip me off, which might not be the case. Maybe the PPG just dropped the other day. Maybe it's a little blip and it's going to go back to the normal price. Maybe they value the pop more than the PPG is. It could be many things. So you just have to use PPG as a tool in your arsenal of evaluating how much you're willing to spend on a pop or what you want to sell a pop for. So let's put all our lessons together, and I'm going to tell you how to properly use PPG. So let me tell you how to actually use PPG. Step 1, don't use the Funko app. Use the PPG website if you can, and make sure you look up the correct sticker variant if it exists. Con sticker versus shared exclusive. The next thing you want to do is on that PPG website, you'll see they have a chart that shows the past history of the value of a pop. Now you want to make sure that there's a trend to it. Ideally, there'd be a very constant value and you'd go, oh, okay, it looks like it's always about $5 plus or minus $20. So as long as I pay between 15 and 25, I'm not getting ripped off, right? Sometimes you'll see something getting exponentially higher and higher. That's something you might want to watch out for, because who knows if it's going to stay up there, if it's going to drop. It's a lot like a stock market, right? You can think of PPG a lot like stocks. They're very open to human speculation. Like someone thinks a pop is going to be worth more soon, so they start listing it for more. Someone else believes, yeah, this pop is going to be worth more soon, so they pay that value. And then that keeps accelerating. Oh, shoot, the price is going up. I should buy one soon before it keeps going up. Yeah, I'll pay like $2 more because I think it's going to be like $50 more soon. And you get this accelerated creep up in value, whether it's based on reality or just speculation. So look at the chart. The main thing you want to look for in the chart is weird spikes, okay? You don't want to buy a pop when it hits a weird spike in price. It's usually $10. Oh, all of a sudden there was some random eBay sale of $20 because some mom just knew their kid wanted this pop and was willing to spend whatever, and they didn't really care about getting a good deal or a good value, and they just spent it, and it pushed up the value for like a day or two. You just want to watch out for those big spikes and make sure you're not getting screwed with that, okay? Okay. Now, another really big thing to consider is that you can't buy at retail, because PPG is pretty much pointless if you can buy at retail, okay? PPG is only for third-party pops that you can't find that are like several months out of retail, okay? Make sure you can't buy at retail, because then obviously go buy at retail. You also need to take into account where you live and the availability and supply of that pop. Like I was saying, if you live in Canada and you want a Freddy Funko, there's probably not a lot floating around. And if there's only one person near you that's selling it, they can dictate the price. And if you're not willing to pay the price, then you don't have to buy it. You also need to take into account, if you can buy it somewhere else for cheaper, how much is shipping? Maybe it has to go across the border. How much is the exchange rate? Are you still saving money, or should you just pay the local person that has a slightly higher price in the first place? You also are going to want to take a look at the calendar, because like I said earlier, if Halloween's coming up, hey, those Halloween pops are going to go up in price. If Christmas is coming up, hey, even before Christmas, in anticipation of Christmas, those prices are going to go up. And then at Christmas, they will be high too, obviously. So if you want a Christmas pop, you probably don't want to buy it at Christmas. Same with Halloween. Now, on the flip side of that, sellers are smart. They want to make the most money they can. So once Christmas is over, if their pop didn't sell, they might just take it off and wait until next year, if they can afford to do that. Now, if they can't afford to do that and they just want to move it and get rid of it, then yeah, you might get lucky. After Christmas, after Halloween, you can kind of pick up the scraps. You know, like you go to the store and buy the leftover Halloween candy, you might be able to do the same thing. Now, the most important thing, remember, at the end of the day, a pop is only worth as much as you're willing to spend on it. You're the one who determines how much that pop's worth to you. If there's a pop where the PPG is 20 bucks, but you just can't find it anywhere, and you finally find it, but the guy wants 50 bucks, and you're okay with that, then hey, that's how much it's worth to you. Don't let anyone make you feel bad about that you got a bad deal or something like that. And if some seller is selling a pop over PPG, hey, maybe they actually really like that pop and they're only willing to let it go for that much. That's cool too, all right? No one's forcing you to buy it. No one's forcing you to sell it. All you can do is try to meet in the middle where both people are happy. I hope this video was very educational for you. You should know a lot more about PPG than you did when this video started, and you should know what to take into account. You can't blindly trust PPG, okay? That's the takeaway of this. Don't blindly trust it. Use it as a tool in your arsenal, and that's it. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Fellow Fun Addicts. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Peace.